Hi friends, welcome to this session. Today we have to discuss about an important topic which is related with industrial capitalism. As we know that in the modern age is the age of machines. This period have introduced a lot of changes in the field of modern industry, transport, communication and other fields such as agriculture, etc. That's why the period was also known as industrial revolution. The basic characteristics of industrial revolution was the growth of the cities. Then the movement began in England. From this period, we can see a clear cut of transition from small scale production to large scale. The Industrial Revolution made the Western nations in a rich and powerful, and these followed a policy of colonization and imperialism and exploitation. And these highly industrialized Western nations conquered economically backward countries, especially the Asian and African countries. Then the modern period, the capitalism has passed through various stages. The concept of industrial capitalism is basically developed on the theory of the evolution of capitalism. Actually, capitalism as a theory which is developed in modern period, and it has passed through various stages. And in the early stages of capitalism was called merchant capitalism and also known as the commercial capitalism. Actually, during those days, merchant capitalism was a creation of commercial revolutions. During that period, merchant groups enjoyed a respectable position in the society. The merchant groups are the intermediaries between the producers and the consumers. Then and they played a no direct role in the production, but he bought commodities and to sell them for their own profit. The major development of during the phase of this commercial capitalism was the formation of many joint stock companies and many joint stock companies, especially in England, Dutch and French, and they played a great role for the promotion of this commercial capitalism. In this kind of early form of capitalism was transformed into industrial capitalism in the first half of the 19th century. One of the prominent philosopher and a great British historian, Eric Hobsbawm, he clearly analyzed the theory of industrial capitalism. He pointed out that the period between 1850 to 1870 was known as the age of capitalism and the age of capital. Most of the historians believe that industrial capitalism as the outgrowth of commercial revolution. One of the main feature of this revolution was that to increase the trading activities. The commercial revolutions accumulated a large amount of capital which lead to the constructions of factories and manufactures of machines. As a part of this process, we can see a large level of expanding markets to European industries. Then how can we classify this merchant capitalism and industrial capitalism? One of the prominent French historian, Georges Lefebvre, states that the industrial capital was largely the creation of those merchants who credited putting out system or manufacturers. In the beginning stage, the merchants employed his capital to buy raw materials and he supplied to the artisans to transform into the finished goods. And we know that most of these artisans work in their own home for small wages. The system's production was called domestic level of production, as also we can say that domestic production. The merchants sold for finished products to consumers for more profit. The another thing is that in the meantime, the merchants set up a manufactories where he employed workers himself. Then this process helped the merchant to become a industrialist, and the merchant capital was known as industrial capital. Actually, the industrial capitalism was the product of industrial revolution. So the factory owners become the first industrial capitalist. Then we can discuss about what are the important aspects which is connected with this industrial capitalism. Actually, the industrial capitalism represented a new mode of production and a new kind of factory system, and the technological innovations, the accumulation of capitals and joint stock companies, changes in the field of agriculture, and the theory of laissez-faire also contributed for the different aspects of this industrial capitalism. Then first we have to discuss about the first important aspects, which is the growth of the factory system. When we analyze the evolution of this factory system, we can understand three different stages. The first stage is mainly connected with the early guild system. Guild means, actually guild is a kind of association of merchants. But the development of this rapid kind of commerce and industry, the system which is very much prevalent during the medieval period. After the development of this commerce and industry, the system was totally destroyed and formed a new industrial system which is known as a domestic system. The second stage of this factory system mainly connected with the domestic system. Under this system, the artisan still worked in his own house, but it brought about a remarkable changes in the marketing of finished products. The last stage of the evolution of this factory system, which is mainly connected with urban manufacture. In this system, around 500 laborers work under a single roof. So the production was carried in a factory. This factory system of production with machines, the division of labor, the large scale of production, capital and labor become the key features of this industrial society. Then the second stage of the development of this industrial capitalism, which is connected with the technological changes. As we know that after the industrial revolution, a lot of changes in technological field, and also during those days we can see a lot of scientific innovations as a part of these industrial revolutions and the scientific revolutions. This kind of technological changes which is affected in a different field, especially in the field of textiles, then the manufacturing industries, then iron industries, and also we can see in the transport and communication field, especially in the development of railway and steam engine, which is used by ships, and which in the water transport become very much cheaper and quicker. This kind of technological changes clearly influence the structure of the production and the organizing of society. Then another great element is that the accumulation of capital. The accumulation of capital is the another important element of this industrial capitalism. The accumulation of capital, basically we can say that as a part of this capital mode of construction, which is made mainly focus on profit oriented. Then the means of this accumulation was the conversion of surplus value. The surplus value which is mainly focus on this profit, the concept of profits, and it is basically connected with the capital. As the part of this capitalist ideology, the surplus value was mainly depend upon three different kind of levels. The first levels by reducing the wage rate of the laborers, and the second one by extending the working hours. Then third one by increasing the productivity of the laborers. That these kind of different levels which is very much affected by the working class people in other sense. Then another important aspect which is connected with this industrial capitalism is that the banking and joint stock companies. This kind of banking and joint companies made a direct contribution to finance and trade, especially in commerce. The development of this banking helped the capitalists to overcome the shortcoming of the existing financial institutions. One of the main example is that the Bank of England, which was founded in 1694, became a powerful institution and played a vital role in the growth of capitalism. Another type of banking system was known as the corporative banking, which was also played a crucial role for industrial capitalism. Another great thing is that the joint stock companies mobilize a large amount of capital for a long period of time. The company was established in the 17th century and it performed a valuable service for capitalism. Then another great element which is connected with this industrial capitalism is that the wage laborers or the workers constituted the most important class in the capitalist society. The important statement which was connected with the capital and labor. The capital and labor were the two important pillars of industrial capitalism. We can see a reciprocal relationship between the two concepts. The capitalists need the laborers and the laborers needs the capitalists. The formation of this capitalist system itself was based on a successful organization of wage labor in the production units. The production units also we have to know as the factories. Then another great element which is connected with the industrial capitalism is that the theory of laissez-faire. Almost all the capitalist classes promoted the theory of laissez-faire, which was literally means let them do. It promoted economic liberalism. The theory scientifically developed by Adam Smith in his work Wealth of Nations, which was published in 1776. The theory further developed by Jeremy Bentham, who was considered as a utilitarian historian and a philosopher. He developed this theory in his own sense. The philosophy of laissez-faire stands for the best government was that which governed least, and also the theory always opposed mercantilism. Another great element which is connected with this industrial capitalism is that the changes in agriculture. In a big capitalist, landlords began to organize cultivation for their own profit. And they introduced a lot of technological innovations in farming and methods. Immanuel Valency, one of the prominent historian who developed the theory, world system theory, he advocated that the origin of capitalism in the agrarian capitalism that characterized in Europe during the period of 16th, 17th and 18th centuries. As we know that the period of industrial capitalism as a period of competitive period among the nations. From a broad perspective, the industrial capitalism had its own drawbacks. It created a numerous threat and challenges to the prevailing social order. It had brought a great riches to become more riches and poorer become more poor. And also we can see unemployment, unhealthy living conditions was very common phenomena in every society, especially this industrial capitalist society. In addition with that, exploitation, especially in the working class was a very common phenomena in industrial capitalism. In short, that this I would like to conclude that the industrial capitalism was basically a product of industrial revolution, and it represented a new mode of production which is led to a great impact in modern world. Thank you very much.